So, it has been a while since my last favorites video, and I'm not one of those people who runs through new favorites every month. I think it's just strange that you would drop things you love so quickly and move on to new ones every month. But anyway, let's get down to it. Now let's start with skincare. A facial wash, to be specific. I'm one of those people who just changes out my face washes regularly. I don't really care too much as long as it's not overly stripping, and I tend to avoid very foamy, very lathery formulas because I find them overly stripping on drier or sensitive skin. Now, if you didn't know, a lot of very foamy face washes actually disrupt the pH balance on your skin. It leaves you more vulnerable to bad bacteria by killing off a lot of the good bacteria on your skin surface. I try to avoid formulas that are overly alkaline. You know, even neutral is not a great pH. Now, we call it an acid mantle because your skin does need to retain a low pH, an acidic pH, to protect itself. So if you have very reactive skin, whether it's oily or it's on the dry side, that likes to act up, you may want to be careful what kind of facial washes you're choosing to use. A gentler one or even a micellar water may work better than using a traditional foam. Having said that, now I have discovered one which I really like. This is Covermark's Mineral Wash, and it comes with this strange little wheel which I will insert a clip of on screen. Now what you do is you squeeze a little bit of this foam out. You can lather it up in your palm and apply it to your face, but this little wheel actually makes it feel more like a thick mousse, and it's just fun. You wrap it all over your face like a face mask. This contains ceramides, it contains a lot of humectants and also antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, to help treat and soothe your skin and prep it for skincare and makeup. Now, if you do happen to purchase this, do not use the sponge to scrub your face. That is not its purpose. It's purely there to help you lather the foam up if you happen to like a thick lather. Now, this has very quickly replaced my Fenty Total Cleanser. I find it leaves my skin very comfortable, it doesn't irritate it, and it really does have that smoothing effect. Now, this is designed to remove or soften hardened keratin on the surface of your skin, which keeps it very dull looking, very rough in texture. Covermark is a Japanese brand that is very focused on skin and makeup. So if they come up with a mineral wash or face wash, you can be sure they are doing it with the aesthetics in mind, meaning after you wash, how does your skin look and feel? How is your makeup gonna go on? It is a little bit more of a pricey purchase for a face wash, but if you are in the mood to pamper yourself and you have the extra budget to allow it, and of course you can get hold of Covermark wherever you are, then this might be a nice one to check out. You'll be happy to know my second favorite comes from the drugstore, and this is Neutrogena's Bright Boost Gel Cream. Now, they have an entire series of Bright Boost skincare, and I've tried the serum, I've tried the night cream, and I've tried the gel cream, which is more meant for day or oilier skins. And I will say, out of all of those items, this one is my top recommendation. Every product in the line contains their star ingredient, which is acetylglucosamine, which they're calling neoglucosamine. Now, this has some tyrosinase inhibiting properties, meaning it will stop your skin from overproducing melanin when it's irritated, when it's inflamed, when there's UV damage. Over time, all these tyrosinase inhibitors will actually sort of slowly even out and brighten your overall skin tone. Now, how good it is at actually fading or targeting spots, I'm not so sure. It could very well be like vitamin C, where it just overall brightens your skin instead of fading specific dark marks. I think if you are looking at dark marks, you may need to look for products that contain either hydroquinone, which is a controlled substance. You do need to be very careful about that and talk to a doctor if you want to try it, or tranexamic acid, which is one of my favorite over-the-counter sort of skincare ingredients. Now, back to the gel cream, and the reason why I picked this over the night cream or the serum, even though I do have drier skin and usually prefer a richer cream texture, is the fact that this not only contains neoglucosamine, it also has AHA, mandelic acid specifically, and also PHA. So what PHA is, it's an exfoliator, a chemical exfoliant, which is a much larger larger molecule size than the usual AHAs, so it doesn't irritate your skin as much. If you have more sensitive skin, you can still do, you know, a little bit of chemical exfoliation, give yourself a glow and less, you know, congestion, less blackheads and noticeable pores using PHA. It's been found to be very effective and gentle at the same time. And the AHA they use in this is not glycolic acid, it's not one of the better known AHAs, it is mandelic acid. Now mandelic acid has the function, almost like retinoids, of boosting cell turnover. By making your skin cells turn over faster, mandelic acid also has the added property of reducing clogs to an extent. Maybe not as powerful as some of the stronger, more concentrated retinoids on the market, but you know, for a beginner, if you're looking to just boost your existing skincare regime, you want something that brightens without being overly harsh, this one has all of the ingredients in it. The serum only contains neoglucosamine and glycerin, so it hydrates, but it doesn't have the AHA, it doesn't have the PHA, and neither does the night cream. So this is why I would say try the gel cream. Now, while we're on that topic, I have been working really hard in the past year or so to try and get rid of some uneven pigmentation. It's not that visible now with my makeup on, but I do have some patches, very faint patches of melasma and uneven pigmentation on my forehead and on my cheekbones. And tranexamic acid has been one of the star actives that I've been looking out for to try and even those out. Now, like I mentioned before, vitamin C, very important antioxidant. It also helps to brighten up skin overall, but it's not really targeted at patches of uneven pigmentation or over pigmentation. So tranexamic acid has been one of the actives that I've gotten better results from over the past year or so. Now, the best serum that I've found to date is SkinCeuticals Discoloration Defense Serum. However, that one is about $150 a pop in Singapore. So I have been testing out a couple of the budget skincare ranges as well, just to try and see if there's something that's comparable, but that's going to be very much cheaper in terms of price. So I have tried the Good Molecules Discoloration Serum. That one I found okay, you know, it's very affordable. It works, but not fast. And they've updated their formula recently as well to put in a newer form of tranexamic, which is supposedly stronger. But I haven't found it to really give me any difference in terms of performance. So I more recently tried the INKEYlist Tranexamic Acid Night Treatment. This is sort of like a last step before you go to bed. So whatever skincare you do, obviously you try not to apply too heavy or too oily and thick of a moisturizer before this, because then that would inhibit absorption. But you put this on sort of like a night mask as a last step. You go to sleep, and I love it. I won't say that this works as fast or as effectively as the SkinCeuticals one, but this is a literal fraction of that price, and I have 2 or 3 bottles in backup already, because this is just one of those serums that I will apply down my chest, down my arms where I have discolorations as well. It's affordable enough that I feel justified doing that. Now, if you have long-term discolorations that have been there for years, just accept that it's going to take quite a lot of time and money to get rid of that. You may need to supplement your skincare with a little bit of laser and be super careful every time you step out into the sun. But if you have fresh discolorations, you know, acne marks, if you had some sensitivities or a reaction, if it's a fresh mark, it usually goes away really quickly or doesn't even leave much mark at all when I'm using this. So whether you are on a tight budget or you're trying out tranexamic acid for the first time, I think at this price point, at this level of quality, this one from INKEYlist, I can stand behind. On to 2 makeup products which are kind of hybrid skincare at the same time. The first is DrJart's Cicapair Re-Cover Cream. Now, if you've not seen it before, this is a strange minty green cream that you dab and then rub out on your skin. It sort of develops on your skin and goes to a very natural beige tone. The more you rub, the more beige it goes. So if you have very red skin, very flushed and flustered skin, then don't rub it out too much. You will get more of a green corrective property. Or if you have very faint redness, you have, you know, a little bit of flushing or some vein stains you want to cover like me, then I will just rub this in like a regular CC cream or BB cream, and it works. It gives a little bit of coverage but not too much, and it looks like skin but it feels like skincare. Now DrJart has updated the formula and relaunched Re-Cover with higher SPF. So now instead of SPF 30, it is SPF 40. However, because it's only a PA2+, it's not gonna be really broad spectrum. It's not gonna protect you fully against UVA rays, which will damage your skin and your collagen. I would still suggest wearing sunscreen under this, but the newer formula I find to be a little bit less beige, a little bit more green, a little bit more corrective than the original formula. This product contains the same skincare ingredients as the rest of the Cicapair line, so if those work for you and you love Centella Asiatica, it's very anti-inflammatory, it's very soothing for sensitive skin, then this may be a very, very good alternative to wearing regular makeup. The next product also sits between skincare and makeup, but this one is a little bit closer towards the makeup end of things. And this is MISSHA's Perfect Cover BB Cream RX. Now this may look a little bit familiar because the original Perfect Cover BB Cream is such a hit globally. It has a lot of coverage. They come in, I think, at least about 5 or 6 shades, which isn't great but is pretty good for a Korean brand. Like the original, this combines a ton of skincare properties with quite a lot of coverage. The difference being, they've updated some of the color pigments so that they look a little bit less ashy, a little bit less gray on some skin tones. Also, it's been many years, so it's about time they updated a lot of these skincare ingredients with the newer, more high-tech formulas around these days. Now, I've used the OG formula for several years, and I would say the main difference is this smooths on and layers a little bit easier. It doesn't slip and slide as much. I need less of this formula to just achieve that beautiful, even, creamy glow. This still has SPF 42 and PA3+, which is decent, but because it's 3+, I would still say use a regular broad spectrum sunscreen with PA4+ underneath. Now, I did a recent video trying on 16 different shapes and designs of Koji's new Dollywink Easy Lashes, and these are half lashes which only sit on a portion of your eye. They're extremely easy to put on, very comfortable and very weightless to wear. You know, they're not going to poke you in the eye, it's not going to feel heavy and uncomfortable, it's not stiff, none of the bands are very stiff, so you pretty much put them on in 10 seconds and forget about them for the rest of the day. I'll put a link to the full video on top, but if you're curious, I do love a lot of these center lashes, rounded shapes which just make your eye look a little bit more open and more wide. The pair that I have on today are the 20s, which are quite a natural spiky center lash shape. They are designed to be very subtle, so if you like dramatic, really va-va-voom, obvious lashes, you're not gonna like these. But if you're new to lashes, you're not so confident, or you just want something to enhance your eyes without taking over the whole show, then these are great. Next makeup item I have been loving is the Dior Backstage Face and Body Powder No Powder. I would have thought they would call it No Powder Powder, but never mind. This is the Powder No Powder. I have the shades 1N and 2N, and I made the mistake of thinking that 2N would suit me because I use 2N in liquid foundations. But just remember that powders work a little bit differently. They do tend to darken up as you pack them onto your face, depending how you apply them. So if you're going to be using this to set your makeup, go one shade lighter because it will cling onto moisture and deepen up a little bit, and your regular shade number may be a bit too deep for you. What I love about this is they were not kidding when they call it a powder no powder, because it really doesn't have that very powdery look when you apply it all over your face. It does kind of mute any shine that you have. So if you have oily skin but you don't want to remove the glow totally, this will sufficiently mute and sort of airbrush and blur the shine and the pores on the surface of your skin, but it will not make you look flat matte. And the best thing is, up close, it really does not look powdery, it does not look like makeup, it just looks like really, really nice skin. This is not a powder foundation. It's not gonna cover everything. It's not gonna camouflage and conceal dark circles and marks. So if you have things that you wanna hide, you do still wanna use a regular concealer first and then go over with this just to even out the rest of your skin tone. Next thing I've been loving is also more on the pricey end. This is one of the new Gucci Rouge Brillants, and this is the shade 214, Call It a Day. This is the most beautiful mauvey, kind of grayish, pinky beige color. It's got this gorgeous, sheeny, balmy texture that melts on but isn't gloopy. It doesn't feel sticky. It doesn't coagulate in the corners of your mouth. And it's just so comfortable to wear. I don't know about you guys, but I've been avoiding the really dry, really matte, long wear lipsticks these days. Even though we're wearing masks, I still prefer something balmy, something casual. It's not 100% opaque, but you know, just easy on, easy off. And this line is just so comfortable. The colors are so beautiful. I've been picking this up a lot, and I just wish it wasn't so expensive because I can see myself running out of this very, very quickly. Let's move on to the last things, fragrance, and I have two to talk about this month, one new, one old. The first of these is Chanel's classic number 19. I have this in both the Parfum Concentration as well as the Eau de Parfum, and I love it, love it, love it. I think I've spoken about this several times by now. I'm not sure if I did it on YouTube, but there's something so old school and so timeless about this at the same time. This to me is the original Ice Queen fragrance. I say this because it's not that it's not feminine, it's just that there's nothing very girly or warm or come hither about this. This is a very green, very icy, almost pure smelling Lily of the Valley scent. But it's not Lily of the Valley like Dior Diorissimo. It's not a very fresh, happy kind of spring, summer fragrance. This is chilly. It is extremely elegant. It's very self-possessed. It is very confident. It's a white floral with an edge of bitter green, and I don't think this is a scent that everyone would necessarily like. It's not as universal as some of Chanel's other scents. This contains a lot of galbanum, which is a very dark green, bitter, sappy kind of a scent, and that completely cuts any of the sweetness and girliness that you would associate with a ton of flowers, which is what Chanel fragrances usually are. Gabrielle Chanel, after making Chanel No. 5, actually signed over and lost the rights to Chanel No. 5 to the Bourjois company. So she actually had a decades-long legal dispute against the company that owned the rights to sell, manufacture, and market Chanel No. 5. And in that meantime, she had no access to her signature scent, and she commissioned Chanel No. 19 and was wearing this as her replacement signature during that time. Now, Chanel No. 5 was always more of a womanly woman kind of a scent to me. It's a woman in all her complexity. There's some warmth, there's some bitterness, there's some powderiness, there's some florals, amber, everything was thrown into that scent because Chanel wanted a well-rounded and very unique fragrance compared to all the very floral, solely floral kind of scents in those days. By comparison, number 19 was made much later. She was older, she was more mature, she was more elegant, she was more wealthy and powerful by that time. You won't smell as many of these sweeter florals. There isn't any of the enveloping, ambery warmth that is in the bottom notes of Chanel No. 5. This is very much cooler, very, very elegant. Now, number 5 is the old school, come hither kind of a fragrance. Then number 19 is a I don't need a man at all kind of a fragrance. Now, if you're on the market for something that's a little bit more universally pleasing, that's a little bit easier for gifting, then I would suggest Rose Blush Cologne by JoMalone. Now, this one is in a limited edition bottle. They only come in this 30 ml size. It's only out for summer 2021, so you may need to get to it if you want to pick this up before it's gone. Now, like most JoMalone scents, this is very, very minimalist. It's quite clean and chic and simple, but each of the notes shines. So this has a top note of basil. It's slightly aromatic, a little bit peppery, but it's not like punch you in the nose basil. You're not going to feel like you are about to eat a pizza. The rose comes out more almost immediately right after the initial aromatic hit, so it's mostly predominantly a rose. It almost smells a little bit delicate, like fresh roses. I'm not sure if it's because the aromatic basils, they're just cutting the sweetness a little bit. It doesn't feel heavy or smell heavy. I mean, there's also a little bit of lychee or lychee, depending on where you are. Just give the rose a little bit of that, you know, kind of jammy quality. It's not going to be anywhere as sweet as some of the Lush roses, not like rose jam at all, so don't worry if you don't like that. And of course at the bottom you have a little bit of cedar just to round things up and give it some complexity, some woodiness, but cedar is a very clean wood note. It's not heavy, it's not musky. This is very relaxed, very carefree, very girly floral. Almost opposite to what you would get from a Chanel number 19. So if you're in a mood to just have a little bit of fun and not be too serious, but you want to be really, really bougie while you're at it, then go for Rose Blush by JoMalone. And that's it for some of my recent favorites from the past couple of months. If you have some things that you have been addicted to recently, please share them in the comments. I want to know what you've been loving. Otherwise, again, I will see you in the next video. Bye.